On this week's update, things get more interesting with Loki. What exactly is Jupiter's legacy? And it's time for a preview of WrestleMania. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, or do anything that you can to support us right here at Pop Culture Cosmos, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. Our returning hero has returned.
I'm back.
There you go. You got to go ahead and check him out today on the Twitter and Instagram at Castle PCC with a K, where he's doing a lot of cool stuff there. Some drone action coming on the way. It is a good man indeed. You got to check out what his thoughts are on NASCAR, pop culture, and so much more for us here at Pop Culture Cosmos. It is Marcus De La Garza. And Marcus, congratulations again on your 5-year anniversary. I have no idea how your wife puts up with you, but we're glad to have you on the show today.
Man, I can't agree with that statement anymore. I mean, it's amazing that she puts up with me, but I'm so glad she does. And, I do want to say, again, happy anniversary. Send that one out across the earth. But, hey, man, funny you mentioned NASCAR. There was a huge race that happened a couple weeks ago. Bristol Dirt Race, man.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk to you about, but I didn't want to interrupt you while you're an anniversary. Okay, it was a dirt race per se, and I'm using quotations on that. They put dirt all around the Bristol Short Track Speedway, but it's interesting. By lap 5, there's already a big, huge groove of dirt that's been removed, and they're just essentially running on concrete in the middle of the track. So if you stayed in the middle of the track, you're fine. It's when you went on the sides that things got a little bit hairy.
Yeah, I think I would debate that one a little bit with you. I think what you were seeing there was
the white of the track in the middle of the thing the whole way around.
No. What you were seeing there was rubbered in dirt. I think that's what you're looking at.
No. It's spread. The dirt once the race started, the dirt spread out to the sides of the track, and that's what happened.
All right, I'll let you keep on thinking that one. But hey, that was a fun race, at least for me. I enjoyed the spectacle of it. I know they put a lot of money into it, and they already announced they're doing it again next year. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, man, really great couple weeks, and I'm sorry I didn't get to share them with the family, but the Pop Culture Cosmos family, that is. But it's been a fun time, and we've got some really interesting topics today. The Sony deal is going to be amazing to talk about. They're interested on hearing your thoughts. And then, as far as drones go, I feel like we keep saying, I'm just waiting on parts. I really am. And I put in a ticket today to figure out where my parts are. And hopefully by 2 weeks from now, we'll be building some things.
And hopefully we'll get to show it off on our Twitch channel. That is Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus, speaking of our Twitch channel, you got to check out not only the fact that we're on there right now, but also the fact that we have 6 days a week. We've got the best in tabletop RPG games. Our entire crew of awesome adventurers each and every day, 6 days a week, are out there. They're having a blast. You got to go ahead and check out all the back episodes that are there. Plus, also, we have tabletop RPG games that are also on our YouTube channel, Pop Culture Cosmos. And 1,000 followers strong, so please support us, where you also get the latest news in pop culture right there on Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos. But it is going to be a great episode. We will be talking about Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix. That's coming. We saw a trailer. It dropped this week. We'll hear Marcus's thoughts on that, plus mine as well. Also, we're going to be talking some Loki. That also dropped. That show also dropped a trailer this week, so we'll be talking about that. We will be talking about the major decisions Sony has made, and could it lead to the end of a popular or a once popular streaming network? We'll go ahead and talk about that. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking our big WWE WrestleMania preview. So definitely want to go ahead and listen for that, because we'll have our thoughts as we run down the entire card coming up later in the program. And Josh Peterson from the Pop Culture Cosmos, he's going to be on after the break to talk about geekdom, being a nerd in 2021, and anime. His thoughts on if anime is accepted in our society or it still has yet to come. We'll talk about that coming up on the episode as well. But first, my friend, I want to go ahead and ask you this. Did you hear or did you get a chance to see the latest Netflix trailer, Jupiter's Legacy?
Yeah, man. Wow. What a start for a trailer. I kind of was really interested in the cast right away. Josh Duhamel. He's going to be, one of the big main characters in the show. I'll admit, a little bit of a man crush on that dude. He used to play Danny McCoy in Las Vegas. Great TV show. And then also, God, he was in the Transformers movies with Shia LaBeouf. I think it was actually the first one that Shia LaBeouf did. Great actor in my book. But on top of that, you've got Leslie Bibb. Leslie's been in.
He's made appearances throughout the Transformers series.
Yeah, he was throughout most of the movies there, wasn't he? But yes. I mean, doesn't. Yeah. Besides the point. Love the guy. Really interested in the storyline, though. This was, it feels like we're jumping on the back of all the other superhero things that are going on right now.
Oh, we are. We are. I mean, you've got Invincible that's out right now, the animated feature that's on the animated series that's on Amazon Prime. Of course, you got The Boys. Of course, you got Umbrella Academy. Of course, you got Doom Patrol. Of course, you got everything going on in the Marvel Universe, everything on the DC Universe, blah, 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 on and on and on and on and on. Yes, it's superheroes until you die type of deals. But yes, it is Jupiter's Legacy. I mean, the only thing that really sticks out to me is the creator of this is one of the guys and one of the individuals behind the Kingsman and Kick-Ass. Mark Millar, I think, is the individual. So I'm really looking forward to that, because obviously you've seen what has happened with Kingsman, which I cannot wait for a continuation of that series. I would love to see a Kick-Ass 3, and I would love to see.
I was just gonna say, I mean, both of those movies are outstanding. You look at what he's touched; it's been quite the resume. So I'm excited to see what he can do with this franchise. I just, I made that comment about we're jumping on the back of all the other superhero stuff right now, and I'm okay with it, but we're gonna hit a saturation point where nobody's gonna want to touch superhero stuff for a while.
I agree with you. We will hit that point at some point, at some. Where along the line, I have a feeling, I think only Marvel and DC are the individual outlets that could probably overcome that, even if we do hit a wall. I think that Jupiter's Legacy, from what I saw, it doesn't overwhelm me just by the trailer. It didn't, say, I got to check it out. It didn't tell me, it didn't scream that to me, but it's something I am intrigued about, but I'm not overwhelmingly in love with seeing at this point in time.
Yeah, and I don't know if we gave a quick rundown of what to be expected with Jupiter's Legacy here, but it revolves around the world's first superheroes and them receiving their powers, and then their children that struggle to grow up with their superpowers. So, really interesting topic, man, or not topic, but I mean just concept for intellectual property. Looking forward to at least watching the first few episodes. If it's great, I'm going to keep watching. If it's not great, I'll probably keep watching Josh Duhamel.
Man crush right there. Watch out. High alert. But that is Jupiter's Legacy. Again, please check out the trailer. You can find the link if you just go ahead and scroll down on our Facebook page, Pop Culture Cosmos. But it is Jupiter's Legacy, coming very soon in the not too distant future to Netflix. But once it comes out, we will go ahead and share our thoughts on it right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But my friend, there's still much more to talk about on today's program. And before we hit the break, I do want to go ahead and touch on a couple more things. Loki, that came out with another trailer this week, and I am pretty excited for this one. It's going to combine some of the action that we're familiar with, that we're actually checking out right now with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, as you're listening to this, episode 4 will be out, and we'll share our thoughts. And we'll share our thoughts on that on the Monday episode. But when it comes to it, we're seeing, I think it's a hybrid. I think with WandaVision, it went in one direction. I think with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it went in another direction. And I think Loki brings both those aspects together. And this could be the biggest hit or the biggest miss of the DC of the Marvel TV universe.
Were you as surprised as I was to see Owen Wilson when that trailer opened up?
Well, I mean, first of all, his trademark blonde hair in it is gone. Well, actually, he has returned to the blonde hair in interviews since then, just to let everybody know. But yeah, he's gone, and he's instead of just being like maybe a side individual or a co-star or something like that, he's actually front and center with Tom Hiddleston's Loki as someone who's going to be like his lawyer, like he's representing him in as far as the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. And he's going to be the person that's helping Loki as they go ahead and try to fix the timeline that Loki broke when he took the Tesseract. When he took the Tesseract at the end of Avengers Endgame and all that. So I want to go ahead and ask you this. I mean, are you intrigued by what you will be seeing by Loki? It comes at a very congested point in time for the summer because there's going to be some movies, the movies with the King Kong and how Godzilla versus King Kong has created this frenzy about a lot of people wanting to go back to the movies, to the theaters to go see movies, that it's coming right out at a time where Black Widow will just be out, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up in the summer. I'm thinking that it will not quite get the response initially because there's so many things that's going to be coming around that time, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a show you surely can't miss.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that perspective, Gerald. It's going to be a great show, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm with you. I'm a little bit worried. We talk about the saturation point. Are we going to hit that when this is debuting? And, I hope not. I hope people really enjoy this and it keeps moving forward. Owen Wilson, he looks a little Pedro Pascal-ish in the trailer there. I don't know, with that mustache and the hair and the haircut itself, man, seems like Disney's really going for a vibe when they've got these male actors now. It's.
But are you going to? Is that another? Is Man Crush number 2 for you there?
I mean, this was a great Owen Wilson. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to call my wife in here to, no, but
he's got that definitive nose. One thing that he can't change is that definitive nose that Owen Wilson has. Yeah. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying it's very distinct. There's no way you can't. Yeah. But I mean, playing the role of the guy he knows basically everything that Loki's done.
Yeah.
And he's telling him, look, you can go ahead and be, just imprisoned forever within this time frame that you're in that, or you can go ahead and work towards freedom by going ahead and fixing all these timelines. The part I love the best, though, in that trailer is when he drops Loki. Oh, that means Owen Wilson. He pushes the button, drops Loki into this room, isolated room, and he has to sign some paperwork. What paperwork is that? Oh, it's just the paperwork dictating every single thing that he's ever said in his lifetime. And then Loki goes, Loki responds, "Are you crazy?" or something like that.
This is absurd. Yeah.
And then, of course, it prints out too. Please sign this too. I thought that was just amazing. I know somebody already made a Hitchhikers of the Galaxy reference to it. Yeah, it definitely has that vibe.
Well, and I'm cool with that, man. I mean, if we can kind of harken back and give some callbacks to some great sci-fi and some great movies of our lifetime, I'm cool with that. And so that's really what excites me about this release here. The fact that we're doing some fun stuff. This is going to be a fun show. It seems like we're going to have our serious moments, but hey, man, it's going to be a wild ride.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you have not seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie that came out, I think, in the earlier part of the century, is something you need to check out. It is the perfect preface, I think, to watching Loki. If you have not seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy yet, you need to check it out before you check out Loki. I have a feeling it's going to fit right on in from what I'm seeing. It looks really cool. And Loki is itself to all the different timelines. He plays a role as far as portraying DB Cooper in one of the scenes, and that's going to be really cool how they're going to show that perspective of it. And what happens in a certain timeline where the world's already destroyed because of something that Loki did, and he has to go ahead and either defeat or do something to all these Lokis. There's a female Loki that's been talking about as well. That a lot of people were speculating that was Black Widow, but actually I think it's a female Loki that he has to go ahead and interact with, and he has to try and stop. So it is going to be very interesting to see where we are with Loki. I think people should not underestimate how good this show can be. I know you and I are really high on Falcon and Winter Soldier after 3 episodes. I really enjoy my time with it. I have not seen the layer of the roller coaster ride that we were on with WandaVision, which was really good. And then some others like, but this one has been a really good with Falcon Winter Soldier. I have a feeling for some reason I'm going to really enjoy Loki as well.
Agreed. I do disagree with your perception on WandaVision. I think it just did this the entire time, just went straight up.
No, it was. I gave it a 7 overall for the series, but again, there was some momentous highs and some not so great episodes. I think also the red herrings that they kept throwing out are stuff that they had talked about during the course of the series that they never actually acted upon. I think was kind of a take that I didn't like. I didn't like the stuff that they threw you into they actually made you care about stuff that never actually happened, or when it did happen, it was kind of disappointing. I mean, do we need to really talk about the machine that was supposed to go ahead and get inside the hex and all that? We don't want to talk.
Yeah, I understand those moments, but I mean, it's not like it's Game of Thrones, and we got 25 dead end storylines in one season. But
there was a few.
I'll give you like 2 or 3 of those, yes, but I don't know if I would still call it this.
Agent Franklin's still waiting at catering. He's still waiting there. He's still waiting for his callback.
Oh man!
But once again, it is Loki. We're truly excited for Loki. I want to hear your thoughts out there after the second video, the second trailer dropped this week. What are your thoughts on Loki when it drops in June? Are you really excited for it? Do you think it's going to be something that's quirky yet familiar to you in the Thor universe of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is it something you really want to see? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, before we hit the break, one last thing I want to hit you up with, and that's a major announcement from Sony that they are now pulling all their first line movies, all their new movies will not be appearing on Starz, and that is switching over to, guess who? Netflix.
Yeah.
Chunk of change, the dollar-rooney. Yeah, you know how much they love to fork over the cash. I mean, they just spent, $450 million on the next Knives Out and the next Knives Out. So the next 2 Knives Out will be on Netflix for $450 million, chunk of change. So they're not shy about throwing the dollars around. So they get all of Sony's first run movies that are coming. That means Venom 2. That means all the other stuff. Jumanji, if they make the next Jumanji, that's going to be on there. And of course, that means Spider-Man. So I want to hear your thoughts on the next Spider-Man, because when it debuts on streaming, it'll debut on Netflix.
Dude, this was a wild deal to me. I didn't know this was going on until I got the message from you in the middle of the afternoon. I'm sitting at work. I turned and looked at my good friend and said, dude, Sony to Netflix. And the first thing both of us said was Spider-Man. And we kind of lost our minds there for a second. But yeah, dude, this is going to be really cool. I'm a little bit lost here. We had a little bit of maybe a correction there between Sony and Marvel when it came to Spider-Man. How does this play out?
Well, it's so funny because you got to remember Marvel was on Netflix with their TV shows.
They were.
Then they decided to part ways because they did Disney Plus and all that. Now, who comes in with a movie that's going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Actually, more than one when you consider the Venoms. They're going to be loosely tied to it as well. And everything going forward, at least for the foreseeable future, that's relating to Spider-Man will have some tinge of the MCU in it. And that will be on Netflix. So it all seems to always circle around Netflix in some form or fashion. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But the bigger question that everybody's talking about, because so many people are talking about obviously the Netflix part, but the thing that's not talked about as much is Starz. And we talked about this last week, Josh and I, in regards to American Gods being canceled, which was, I think, in my opinion, the number 2 show or number 3 show, depending on who you talk to. I mean, I think Power was on that show, and I think that's a good something I think was on Power. Was that the one?
Yeah, Power was.
Yeah, Power. Power, yeah, that's obviously a very highly rated show, and there's other shows on Starz that are, that are there, and obviously Outlander is a good show. So you could say it's American Gods was the number 3 show on there because Power and Outlander are so beloved on that network. But the thing is, there's not much now more reasons to go to Starz, whether it's through cable, through streaming part of it, or anything as far as Starz are concerned. Do you think this is a death knell blow for Starz?
I'm not sure if it's the death knell blow. If you're a Starz, you're hoping for another movie studio to come along and backfill that hole that Sony just left. Nobody's going to fill the size of the hole that Sony just left because, I mean, they just pulled so much intellectual property off of Starz. Who can afford to replace that quality?
But the problem is, though, I mean, Sony was the last. I don't want to say independent because they had Crackle, because technically they could have taken the time and money to build up Crackle into a competitor, but they didn't. So again, Crackle's going to be something that's lying there 20 years from now and it's still going to be the same thing that you saw 20 years ago, seemingly. 5 years ago, seemingly. So I want to say this, that Sony was the last big entity that I think was out there to go ahead and place the shows, because obviously they do not have any plans to go ahead and put out a big channel or big streaming outlet of its own. I mean, Lionsgate could maybe, but Lionsgate doesn't have enough stuff.
That's going to be a risky move on Starz' part to pick up Lionsgate at that point. It's honestly, if you don't mind me taking a step back here for half a second or half a minute, I think that this is a smart move by Sony and possibly Disney if they had any voice on the deal here, specifically just because of the Marvel involvement.
Well, I don't think if they would have had a voice on it, they would have said go to Hulu.
You really think so?
Because they own Hulu. Why would you not want to steer your stuff towards Hulu then?
Well, what about diversification of IP? If you can put something that is going to be successful on your competitor's platform, guaranteeing that if they're making money, you're making money, you'll never be behind them. I know that's a very loosely thrown out there theory. It's not very well cooked, and maybe we'll see.
I think Disney would have steered them towards Hulu.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's just, I don't know, dude. There's something weird about this
but
deal.
Hulu's not even that popular. Hulu has 30 million subscribers, and they've been on that number seemingly forever.
They wish they were half of Netflix. That's what.
Yeah.
They were.
Only Disney Plus is half of Netflix right now.
Right, and that's that's still a big number, dude. But yeah, we'll see. This is going to be an interesting deal for me. I don't know what happened here when it came to the planning stages of this one or the execution. I really feel like Disney maybe dropped the ball on trying to step in and doing anything. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt there and say that they diversified their portfolio, but I see your face really getting all right up there. Yeah, I don't know.
It's always about money, man. Yeah,
it is about money, and
I think Disney Plus's goal is to overcome Netflix. And if your goal is to overcome Netflix, and again, this would lead to be something that you and I talked about a long time ago with the Star Network, and that whole they need to incorporate everything that Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus needs to become one entity here in North America.
It does.
I think that need to happen like yesterday, but.
I don't know why it didn't happen when they announced it for everybody else but North America. But,
it's that Disney branding, man. It's all about the Disney branding.
But you could keep that Disney branding. I mean, just call it Disney Star or something. Just call it Disney Plus. I don't really care what you call it. Just give me all the content in one place. That's all I'm hoping for.
Well, again, all the stuff that's going, or all the first-run movies that are coming from Sony in the not-too-distant future are heading to Netflix. That's
Jumanji.
a big. Yeah, like I said, the next Jumanji, Spider-Man, the whole 9 yards that's coming from Sony will now be going to Netflix. I think that's a big money deal for Sony. Obviously, it gives them an influx of cash that they really needed. And for Netflix, because obviously they've been hurting like many of these other movie companies by not having their movies in the theaters. And for Netflix, this is obviously a big influx of content, premium frontline name brand content that they will be getting, that they can help push and promote, that will help them stay at the top, or at least give them a good chance of doing so at keeping that 200 million subscriber number. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But yes, final thoughts before you head on the break?
I was just going to say this is a 5-year deal. So we'll see what happens 5 years from now. Maybe we'll be talking about how this was the best, thing that could have ever happened to the Sony Studios and the Spider-Man franchise because, this just set them up to be bought by Disney or something. I don't know. I'm just, Joe, I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
That's a good thing for you to say. You know why? Because in 5 years, it's going to be determined as far as the streaming wars is concerned, who is the leader or what the race is like. Will it still be 2-1 as far as Netflix to Disney Plus? Will Disney Plus have surpassed Netflix by that time? We'll only know in 5 years. And in 5 years, if Netflix is still 100 million subscribers over everyone else, the Sony deal will be a major part of just that, of just why. What are your thoughts out there on Sony moving from Starz over to Netflix? Do you see this? Do you see this like us as a big win for Sony, and do you see this as a big loss? Maybe a network closing loss. Maybe a network closing loss for Starz, perhaps. Let us know. Share your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos@yahoo.com. Well, coming up next, it is Josh Peterson and I. We're going to be talking about nerddom, geekdom. Took a couple of things we're kind of, a little bit apprehensive about talking about, even though that's basically what we are.
Yes.
Pop culture. And can anime be accepted full time in our culture? We're going to talk about all those. We're going to talk about that coming up right after the break. And then after that, on the back half of the show, it's Marcus and I doing a huge WrestleMania preview. And that's coming up right after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the show. It's the PCC Multiverse. Want to thank so much Josh Peterson, my cohort in crime on the Monday show, the Pop Culture Cosmos, for stopping by to talk about nerddom, geekdom, and basically everything that's going on with the world of anime and if it's fully accepted. Glad to hear his thoughts on that. That's something he's wanted to get off his chest for a long time. But my friend, speaking of nerddom, geekdom, pop culture stuff, one of the big pop culture events of the year, of every year, seemingly, is coming this weekend in a 2-night event, which it should stay at, by the way, as we had on a recent show.
Yeah, okay.
Our thoughts on that, so at least mine anyways. I kind of talked you into that, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the nostalgia is still pulling me back to that one day.
Yeah, then they're not, okay, those 1 day, 3-hour shows are no more, my friend.
I know.
It's 7 hours, 9 hours. Get prepared for 9 hours next year. But anyways, you're going to have like caffeine pills after halfway through the card. But I want to go ahead and tell you this right now.
Just bring the cooler to the couch, man. I mean, that's all you need to do at the 9 hours. They're going to
put you on an IV. They're going to put like an IV drip for, something to keep you awake the whole time. But it is WrestleMania. It is a 2-night event. It's coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I first want to tell you that we are going to have live reactions both Saturday and Sunday night. I've got Noe and Fine and also John Orlando. John Orlando for the PVD cast, he comes up on Saturday, and Noe and Fine from Honey Queen, he comes up on Sunday. Night 1 and night 2 will be live on the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook channel with their thoughts on the card as it happens. We'll be right there at post-game show per se. But you also want to go ahead and check out Monday, because if you did catch it for some reason, we'll share their thoughts on the Monday program. But it is going to be a big event. I mean, I know WWE and a whole bunch of fans out there are excited because there will be limited seating. I think it's going to be about 35,000, in that roughly neighborhood out there at Tampa Bay and for the Tampa Stadium out there. Everybody's looking forward to it. But we're going to get into it now, a preview of the upcoming card. We're going to go with night 1 first. Your thoughts on night 1. We're going to go ahead with the first match that I'm showing up with. I think we're going to go ahead. I'm going to test you first off. It's a singles match. It's a challenge match, a.k.a. there's no title on the line. It's Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro's beginning he's been there a long time. He's always been respected in the industry, been a good, solid worker for the company, versus Seth Rollins, who was the champion for a long time, considered one of the top individuals in the company for quite a long time. You know him from his days when he was with the Shield and obviously on his run as a singles title holder. But right now, both of those guys are in a kind of little catch-22 area. having a challenge match per se. What are your thoughts on Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, and who will come out on top?
I'll go ahead and call it right now. Cesaro all the way. Seth Rollins, outstanding. He puts on a great show, but I think at the end of the day, what you're looking at here is Cesaro is gigantic, and you can't discount that size advantage that he's got. I think he's got like 3 or 4 inches on Seth Rollins. It's going to be an interesting match. You are right, though. They're in a bit of a pickle here with this challenge match. Nothing really on the line here other than some pride and some future contracts, I'm sure, when it comes to, whether it's a Monday night deal or whatever that happens behind the scenes that we don't get to know about. But yeah, dude, I'm going to go ahead and go with Cesaro here. If you look at some of the pundits around, I think a lot of people are going Cesaro, but I think it's more than just I think it's just more than just the product. I don't know. You look at the size of the guy; he's gigantic. How do you not win at that size? And he's skilled. I mean, you look at what he's done his career.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great skill. He's got a lot of great skill. He's been underrated for quite some time, in my opinion. But he's been beaten so many times; it's hard to get behind a Cesaro push. I know there's been the latest Cesaro push has been a little bit stronger than many of his other pushes in the past. So I'm actually going to go with you on Cesaro getting the win over Seth Rollins. I have a feeling that Seth Rollins is still in the euphoria of having his child with Becky Lynch. I think being a daddy right now is what he's more interested in. I know that he'll get a top spot once again, but I think giving Cesaro the win would be more helpful to him than Seth Rollins getting the win at this time. I think it's more beneficial to putting Cesaro in a better light with the fans. What we got next is go ahead.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
What we got next is a steel cage match. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in the feud I or no one else on the planet really wanted to see. So we're going to basically see Shane McMahon once again taking a spot away from somebody else that's not on the card, and just so he can do his spectacular bumps that he's known for, even at his advanced age, which is right around mine. I was surprised to know he's right around my ballpark, which was kind of surprising. But I want to hear
HGH in that body, though.
Yeah, but it gets old that it's great that he, first few times he does a spectacular bump and he does a spectacular bump and he does a spectacular bump. It's great, but then you realize he's just taking away a top spot or a spot on this great card away from somebody else who might benefit more from it, because then we're not going to see Shane McMahon really again in a prime spotlight until next year's WrestleMania, doing the same thing again. I mean, we all see that Braun Strowman's going to do something to him that's going to cause him to do some miraculous bump, and most likely, unless he massively cheats, he's going to get the win. So I'm going to go with Braun Strowman on this.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I am kind of shocked to see that that McMahon's taking another spot away from somebody.
What's his last name?
McMahon.
There you go. You just answered your own question why he's taking the spotlight from somebody.
Yeah, I get that. And, when you're the big boss, sometimes you get to do what you want. The problem is he needs those people around him telling him that he's hurting the product overall. I'm with you. You can only throw so many bumps before people kind of just get bored. And this might be a boring match. I hope it's not. I'm sure we'll put on a good show.
I hope it's short.
We'll put on a show, and hopefully, yeah, it is short. But, all this is because Strowman was kind of being an idiot, and McMahon decided he was going to show up and maybe be a boss for a second. Who knows?
Who knows? But Braun Strowman, I think, is in line for something bigger. It's been always talked about trying to give him a push, an extended push. I don't know if that's ever going to come to, and I don't know if it's ever going to materialize, but he did get a title run. This may lead into another title run. We'll see. Tag team match, I don't think I really wanted to see, but I know for a gimmick purposes and a celebrity purpose that it has to be done. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. This is not a match I really want to see. This is not a match I think that any wrestling fan wants to see, but for a celebrity pop culture factor, I can see why it's there. They do this every year. They get the match that includes a celebrity or gets a celebrity involvement of some type. So I want to hear your thoughts on Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. I'm going to assume that somehow Bad Bunny and Damian Priest will come out on top because The Miz and John Morrison almost lose every week.
Do you think that when you're the punching bag every week, they give you maybe a win?
You saw how The Miz was destroyed when he lost the WWE title to Bobby Lashley. I mean, that sentiment. I'm going to say it right now. I think The Miz has a great future outside of the ring. I think he talked about wanting to be Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie. I think that would click.
That would be epic.
I think he could be the next individual outside of the John Cenas, the Paul Whites, obviously the Rocks. He could be that next individual that could reach outside of this realm, of the ring realm, and go into something more entertaining, because I see his shtick, for lack of a better term. I see his persona getting tiresome of the fans. The heel, the chicken heel, the type of individual he is and portrayed upon the WWE. I think that time is coming to an end.
Yeah. Again, let's just go ahead and point out the fact that nobody really cares about this match. And I'll go with you. Bad Bunny's going to win. Why would Bad Bunny not win?
The Entertainment Tonight match, because ET will go ahead and get all the pictures and take all the video of that. And
but that's important. But it's also important to remember that when we go back to a one-day event, we're going to be cutting hopefully matches like this. At least. Yeah.
I know we are. The next 2 years, they're scheduled to be one-day events, which is a shame.
I know.
Let's go with the tag team match, the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. Omos is, I think, 7'2", a legit 7'2". He's really tall with AJ. Standing next to AJ Styles, who is really not that tall. I mean, it's kind of funny to see, and I think that's obviously for visual purposes, the way they do it. But I see them getting the win over the New Day, which has held the title 500 times, seemingly. And they'll be known as one of the best WWE tag teams of all time, simply because of the fact that they've been around forever. They're very talented. They're very skilled. And I think that, they'll always be thought of in a highlight, and they can lose and they'll still win it back, and it should be the same. So I think those two, as far as Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, are extremely talented. But again, I think this time, just for the gimmick of it, I think AJ Styles and Omos are going to win that match.
Yeah, I would really love to see the New Day win. I think this is a match where we could, I don't know, man. The New Days are the New Day's champion here, so why would you bet against them? But they've been on quite a run here.
They've won and lost the title so many times.
I know, but I mean, like AJ Styles and Omos. What are you bringing to the table here, other than just two individuals? It's the New Day. You've got the power. I don't want to call them power couple, power duo here that have. They've been around. They've won their titles. They've lost their titles, but you know what? They won a ton of matches. So
and they've had their bootios.
Yeah, dude. But all right. So here's my thing. I'm going with the New Day here. But I understand that there's going to be some people here sitting here saying it's time for them to move on. Maybe.
And they'll win the titles again. No, and they'll win the titles again. Oh yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's just a switch just for WrestleMania. I don't know how long AJ Styles and Omos will keep it. I don't suspect very long, but I think at some point in time, New Day will win the straps again. I think they will win the titles at some point in time.
Why? I know why, because you get a paycheck out of it. But why pigeonhole yourself into being just the tag team duo? I mean, don't you think there's something more there for them, that they want that individual recognition?
Well, you see what they're doing for Big E. They split the WWE, finally split them up as far as entities are concerned. It's put them on different shows, put them on different brands, so Big E could go ahead, and they thought they would really give him a nice push as a singles individuals. So we'll see what happens, but I don't see the New Day splitting up. I just see them going ahead and winning the titles once again, because I think they're a reliable and popular enough tag team. I think they've got enough good graces with the fans and also enough experience as a tag team to always say, you know what, we're going to go ahead. We need a title run for somebody that's solid. We're going to go ahead and give you guys, because you guys are outstanding workers, and you're over with the fans enough to the point where, you know what, we'll give it to you. But if we like to try something different, we'll just go ahead and do that. I think that's what happens with them. I think they're the solid tag team that's there year in, year out. And if you're not liking what you're doing in the WWE tag division, they get the titles. If they want to try something new, like AJ Styles and Omos, they'll give them a shot and see if that works. And if it doesn't, they can give them the titles right back.
Yeah, that's true. Going to be an interesting match here. I would love to, talk to you maybe after this one, just to see what we can come up with after the fact. I know you'll be busy with your post WrestleMania.
You're
coverage.
welcome to join, man.
I'm going to cut you in on a little secret this weekend. I'm going to be cramming. I'm trying to learn some programming, skills and techniques. I'm trying to apply for a job, and so got to learn some Redux, learn some unit testing,
that's
and
more important than WrestleMania.
It is, but I mean, at some point, I'm going to be hitting the wall and having to watch something. So maybe we'll watch a little, tag team matches and come back and have a little conversation for 10 or 15 minutes.
You can always shoot me the DM.
That's true.
Right. Yeah. Well, right after, I just want to go ahead and before we end up on finishing up on day one, I want to go ahead and mention the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. This is the match I would like to see. I'm very interested because I think Sasha Banks, really good champion. Bianca Belair, we're going to find out if she's ready to go ahead and take that next step. I am thinking that of the two matches, I would like to see a title change on. I think it's this one. I think for a chance, you should give Bianca Belair, I think, to see if she can go ahead and shine the spotlight. Sasha Banks is a top contender and a top women's wrestler, and I think she will always be at that stature. So I think now's the time to go ahead and give Bianca Belair the spotlight and have her win this match. I think Bianca's going to win this match.
Yeah, I think that's a great prediction. If you look at Sasha Banks, she's got a lot of name recognition when you talk WWE brand, and so I think at this point it would be advantageous to give Bianca Belair that chance to grab this title and maybe make a name for herself and grow her own brand underneath the WWE umbrella. With something like that, you can start turning this into a feud. You've got Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. You've got it in WrestleMania this year. You've got it next year. You could take this through 39 and have all the little storylines in between on Monday and every other night of the week and go from there, dude. I mean, this is going to be a fun match to watch. This is one that I'm kind of sitting back on. I'm just here to watch and kind of learn a little bit more and then go from there, man. Make some judgment calls on the other side and let you know, is this a possibility? Does Bianca Belair make a run for that big name notoriety coming out of this match?
We'll see what happens, but I'm thinking Bianca Belair will come out on top on this one. I forgot to mention the tag team turmoil fatal 4-way for the number one contender for the women's tag team titles. That will be a number one contendership match. That's the Riot Squad versus Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose versus Lana and Naomi versus Natalya and Tamina. It's so tough to say because the women's tag team division, unless let's say like a Sasha Banks and Bayley comes over or a Asuka or Charlotte Flair comes over, it really should be dominated by Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think whoever wins, I think they should keep the titles on Shayna and Nia for the long term. I think as a team that gives that aura of toughness, I think that they should be given the titles and kept keep on going with the titles, whoever wins this match. I'm going to say, just drawing out of a hat, I'm going to say Natalya and Tamina. I think of the four, maybe might get the pull just because they have the size advantage, and maybe they could match up size-wise a lot better against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. But I think Nia and Shayna have a little bit better gimmick together, so I think they would win in that matchup. If you were to pick out any team in this fatal 4-way number one contenders match, who would that be?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Riot Squad, but I mean, I have a problem with some of these turmoil matches. It just feels like there's too much going on at one time. It's hard
back in the day, they used to do this stuff because the payday, to get them on the card, because being on it on a pay-per-view, you get that payday. You get the extra payday from it for an appearance on the card. So they used to go ahead and do like with the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. That's to get all the wrestlers on there and the women's battle royal on there. They do that in order to get all the wrestlers on the WrestleMania card. So this is one way you can get 8 wrestlers on this card that may have not been, or may not be on this card under normal circumstances. So that's probably the reason why that they're doing this match.
Yeah, and maybe makes my point even more that maybe we shouldn't just be making matches to put people on the card. I don't know. I'm just saying, one day WrestleMania might cut some of these extra matches that are happening. But I also know that this is a financial decision, right? Like, you're trying to get everyone paid, and so at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with Riot Squad. I don't know why.
I don't think any of those teams would be effective in or as beating Shayna or Nia at this point in time. Even though I'm not in love with their rough style, because it ends up hurting wrestlers in reality, as we've seen over the past few months from both those individuals. I still think Nia and Shayna has that aura of toughness, and I think that I think the winner, don't they appear the next night going for the titles? I think on night 2. I don't know if it works out that way, but I think it might be the case. If we see that, we'll report on it, obviously, on day 2 of our coverage, and we'll know for sure. But I think that might be the case. That would be a great way to do it.
I believe that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that I mentioned that in our conversation as far as having a 2-night permanent deal, that you can have the scenario where it plays out over the course of a 2-night weekend where you have this team, they win the number 1 contendership. And if they're good enough, or you think they're going to be promoted well enough, or you think they're worth it, you have them win the titles on the next night, or an individual do the same thing, or maybe a feud gets culminated and on one night to the next, and or you have like a 2-match setup. You have one night a spectacular match here and the same 2. There are just so many different scenarios you could play out so much better on a 2-night format with WrestleMania. Again, bemoaning on that fact, but it is a number 1 contenders match, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that the winner will wrestle the next night against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So we'll see what happens with that on this WrestleMania weekend. But last but not least, for night 1 is for the WWE Championship, and that is Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Let's just call it the Raw title. Okay, at this point.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yep.
Bobby Lashley has been a monster, has been a beast. Obviously going ahead and doing everything he can to put himself and MVP on a better stature. I mean, I don't know if they broke up with the Hurt Business. I think they broke up with the Hurt Business, or they put a lot of hurt on the rest of the members of the Hurt Business in recent weeks. So Bobby Lashley looks like he's being put on a bigger pedestal. I mean, I haven't seen this type of profile for him since I think about over 10 years ago, when he was in that mixed that tag match, I think, with a haircut on the line between a certain ex-president and Vince McMahon, but we won't go into that one. But he's being put in that profile again, and I think for Bobby Lashley, I'm really happy for him, because he's been a solid MMA performer, been a solid performer, I think, as far as wrestling is concerned. He's gone from TNA to Impact to back to WWE. I want to hear your thoughts on this match. Drew McIntyre is someone who they were trying to build a company around this time last year. Didn't quite work out in the pandemic era the way they wanted to with him. So they had him drop the title, I think not once, but twice, if memory serves. So I want to hear your thoughts on Drew McIntyre. Could he regain it again for, I believe, the 3rd time?
I think that I'm honestly going to default to the odds books here. It's not legal to bet on WrestleMania here in the States, but you can in the UK. So you can find odds.
I get the odds all over the place for him.
Well, okay. Apparently, it's not supposed to be legal for you to. Maybe it's only online.
Online offshore betting, I should say.
Yeah. So, looking at some of the odds coming out of the UK, Drew McIntyre apparently is supposed to win this match. And, if you look at the storylines and everything that's coming into this, I think we're setting him up to win. But I think, Bobby's has a great chance to grow and take this championship, dude. But I think that, for 2 guys that have really driven the brand over the last few years, hey, you can't ask for a better match here.
With Drew McIntyre, I think if they do let him win, it's because they're going to let him win for the first time in front of a crowd. I think that's probably what they're trying to go for, to see if he can get that kind of acceptance that
No.
they were hoping with last year in the pandemic era. Because remember, he didn't win the title in front of a crowd. He beat Brock Lesnar for the first time at WrestleMania at the Performance Center. So it's kind of a different story now that you're in front of 35,000 fans. So we'll see if they do give him the title opportunity and the chance to win it, if he goes ahead and becomes the individual that this company can work around, because they're missing that right now. They're missing that one dynamic individual the whole company can work around. Is Drew McIntyre the answer? I'm not so sure, but one way we might find out, it may happen this weekend in night 1 of WrestleMania. Night 2 of WrestleMania is right after that on Sunday, and we're going to go ahead and get to that in a sec, right after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. I'm here along with my good friend, Mr. Castle PCC on Twitter and Instagram with a K. That's Marcus De La Garza. Night 2 in our big, huge WrestleMania preview is right now. So let's start off, my friend, with the Intercontinental Championship on the line in a Nigerian drum fight. It is Big E, who we just talked about before the break.
We did. Yeah, we did.
He's the U.S. champion versus Apollo Crews. I like Apollo Crews. I really like his athletic style. He's got a new persona. He's gone heel. He's gone bad. But he wants to bring this more to his Nigerian roots, which is the concept of this Nigerian drum beating louder. It's also about basically how you're beating the guy like a drum, I think was what the phrases he was using.
Yep.
It's still kind of vague on what the actual rules of this match are, if it's anything outside the norm, but it is for the Intercontinental Championship. As much as I like Apollo Crews, I still think that they're going to go ahead and let Big E retain. I think the company is high on Big E right now. I think that's why they had him separated from what we saw, had him separated from the New Day and gave him a big singles push. I think they're trying to invest a lot into him, so I think they're going to give him the win on this one.
Yeah, I'm high on Big E here, but I mean, obviously, Apollo Crews is going to be a great challenger. You are right though. Pushing Big E out on his own to make his own brand, to really grow himself and maybe the company here. You can't discount the fact that he's bringing all sorts of great fans to the sport right now. So let's. I'm with you here. Big E's probably my favorite here, but Apollo Crews as a challenger, I think you can't really ask for somebody that is not dedicating themselves to the craft right now. You look at what he's done. He's turned his persona around. He's really embracing that heel attitude. It's a little bit slower out the gate here, but I think he's got a shot here to win the title and then, win the title and keep moving on, man. I think he's got a prospect for a big 2021, 2022, but I think you're right. There's a big push behind Big E, and we might see his reign continue.
So who do you think is going to win? Big E?
Yeah.
Apollo Crews?
No, Big E all the way. I'm just saying Apollo Crews has a great shot. It's just going to be one of those things that, I think you've got to get behind what the storyline needs to be and who needs to be winning here. And at this point, I think it's Big E.
There's also another singles match on the card. This is a feud that's continuing, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Randy Orton versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I know with Alexa Bliss and her wannabe Margot Robbie, type deal where she wants to go ahead and.
How do you describe that one?
It's a I don't know. It's maybe a budget version of Harley Quinn. Maybe it's probably the best way to say it. She's doing she's trying to channel her inner Harley Quinn. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. But yeah, all that's going on as far as the singles match is concerned. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. I hope it's not going to be really too scripted, because I could not stand the actual scripted matches that were done last year, especially the one with John Cena. I cannot stand that with a passion.
Right.
So I want to hear your thoughts on this match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. Hopefully this will end. I'm hoping this will end this feud.
Yeah, this has been a weird feud. It's gone on for way too long, and hopefully this is what settles it. I mean, this is why WrestleMania exists, right? You've got to settle the feuds once and for all, and there's no better stage to do it than WrestleMania. I'm with you here. I think that this has the possibility for Randy Orton to walk away. I think I still have the odds sheet up here. Let's take a look at the odds for a second. The Fiend all the way. Man, I was not looking.
I'm going to say Randy's going to win.
Really?
Yeah. Much as I'm not a big Randy fan, but I always think he needs to be held and kept strong.
Why?
I think because he's just an upper mid card guy. They give him title runs because he's legitimate. He's big. He's believable. Plus, they're spending a ton of cash on him.
Yeah, the marketing's there for him.
Yeah, with a Fiend, you can always have him lose. And you can give him something else because he's always does that weird gimmick and people forget about his last match anyways. I'm going to say Randy Orton is going to win. That's just my pick. So you're picking the Fiend?
I'm going to go to the Fiend, even though the odds are so terrible. It looks like probably one of my crypto moonshots right now. So
maybe I should put some money on Randy Orton. There you go. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
But another match on it, as far as a whopping nothing on the line singles match, is two old adversaries that have known each other for a long time since ROH, the Indies, and so forth. And that's Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I don't think they're going to get the kind of match I want to see with them because they've had some great matches before they entered the WWE. I'm hoping that they will. I'm hoping that they will be told, you know what, you guys go ahead and get 20 minutes. Go ahead and do what you need to do. I'm hoping they'll get that, but I'm not sure that they will. But I'm giving Kevin Owens the nod on this one.
I'm going to have to follow your suit here. This is one that I just don't have really an opinion on. I'm hoping Kevin Owens walks out with the W, but I mean, this is, in my mind, I really don't have a preference here. And I don't know if that's just because I don't find either guy compelling, but it's just there's nothing here for me on that when it comes to Kevin Owens. I'd hope Sammy shows up and puts up a great fight, but I think I'm going to go with you here on Kevin.
Next match is a United States Championship match because you can't have enough title matches at WrestleMania. And that means, like I said, if there's, I want to go ahead and preface that because I think if the women's tag title match is defended, it'll be defended against the number one contenders on night 2. I'm going to say that right now. So if that happens, so let's hope that happens just to bring in another match and also be able to go ahead and give all those ladies out there another shot in the spotlight with WrestleMania. But a U.S. Championship match, the U.S. title will be on the line. Sheamus versus, you can't say Matt, but you can say Riddle. So I want to hear your thoughts on the dude bro, with the bare feet reminding me of Kevin Von Erich. And he is going to go up as the champion against Sheamus in a match that is totally not exciting me at all whatsoever. You talked about the KO Sami Zayn match not exciting you. This one is not exciting me at all. I am not into the dude bro character because I lived through that here in Southern California in the 80s. But I want to hear your thoughts on this match. Riddle versus Sheamus.
Yeah, it's definitely the dude bro. Let's get the average frat bro into this match kind of thing. I'm not high on Sheamus at all. I'm just not high on this match, dude. This is I think this is a weird niche crowd pleaser match, and I couldn't even tell you what that niche is. And
everybody, if you got a one of those motorized skateboards, I think you'll be able to go ahead and if you're in that.
Is that what it is? If you're a one wheel rider, this is the match for you.
I guess so. Apparently.
Oh no. So dude. I mean, bro. I mean, I've got my one wheel. We could just ride down to the shore. It's fine.
Okay, dude. But yeah, I say, dude, bro, Mr. Riddle. I think he is going to come out on top because Sheamus, he's been there, done that. I know he's a good buddy of Triple H, but he's been losing a lot on television lately, and I just don't see him getting a U.S. title shot at this point in time. A U.S. title at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was trying to pull up Sheamus's recent win-loss record.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I actually just saw a picture of him at the Daytona 500 from last year. Interesting, but yeah, I'm with you here. Sheamus has been kind of in the dumps here lately. It would be nice to see them give him OW, but his win-loss record is not looking pretty over the last little bit here.
I think John Orlando from the PVD cast made a great suggestion. You know, he would be one of the prime candidates that would serve best to maybe go to NXT and take some time building up his character in NXT, working with those guys. It'd provide name value for NXT, especially because they're moving to Tuesday nights, and would also provide maybe a lift for some of those guys to work against someone who was a top star in the WWE.
Yeah, I'd be interested to look at Sheamus's contract. I know we never get to see those things, but I'd be interested to look at his contract and see what the if he's got some advantages switching over to NXT here. I'm with you. I think he could go there, build his name, also bring name recognition as well to help beef up the audience. So interesting match here though. I'm not sure. I'm with you here. I'm not sure I really care about this one at the end of the day. Interesting matchup for a WrestleMania, though, Gerald. You have to admit.
Yes, it is an interesting matchup. Dude, bro. 2 matches left. Actually, the match I'm most interested in, obviously one of my favorite wrestlers, and I've spoken about her many times on this show, Asuka, who has been given a horrendous run as champion because they've gone every which way they can to undermine her at every stretch they can. And she has still performed admirably. She's been a great source of she's been steady for the company for over a year now, especially during the pandemic era. She is still champion, and she goes up against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has come in like a house of fire with a lot of pub, a lot of press, the vignettes, the promo, all the stuff that they should be doing for Asuka, especially someone who was undefeated for 3 years like Asuka. I'm still going to say that Asuka should win. Whether or not she does win, I'm not so sure because, once Vince McMahon just, goes googly-eyed on a star, whether it's male or female, he just goes to the roof on that individual. So he may have that for Rhea Ripley at this point in time. I'm going to hope that Asuka wins, but I'm not quite sure. I know the odds say Rhea is going to win. And if anybody says Rhea is going to win, I can't say I would say you're wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Asuka's win-loss here over the last. Let's see.
Don't look. It's not pretty. It's anything that says non-title. Yeah, it's usually yeah.
She's at like
they're doing that same thing to Sasha Banks. They have the champion lose all the time in tag matches or lose all the time in non-title matches to give everybody else some type of legitimacy. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't keep your champion strong, and I really don't like it. That's another story.
Yeah, I mean, she's at a win-loss record of 12.5% for the first bit of 2021 here. Really, really weird numbers.
For your champion.
For your champion. That's not normal.
Someone who was undefeated for 3 years.
Yeah. No, really interesting, development here. But I think I'm with you. You start looking at what's going on behind the scenes here. I think Rhea Ripley's getting ready to be launched into extreme stardom when it comes to wrestling. And so, unfortunately, it's how the cards have shaken out. But we'll see what goes on when we get to WrestleMania. I mean, night 2 is going to be fun. I'm know that we've kind of talked some mess about Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and those 2 matches, and but I think we're going to have some fun when it comes to night 2, and this is going to be a great match to watch, even if Asuka, I always screw up the name. Even if we see another loss here, but I'm hoping we don't. Man, this is a championship match. Let her win. Let's keep the streak going.
Let's just keep the streak going. It'd be nice if they gave her a strong, finish out on a strong title run. Rhea can always win it at SummerSlam. There's also Charlotte Flair that's in the mix. I know she's coming back from the coronavirus. I know that she'll be put into play as far as a top contender is concerned. And you have the Harley Quinn impersonator herself, Alexa Bliss, who is extremely popular with the fans. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking that more for a future for the Raw title division. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping Asuka will win, but I'm not 100% confident that will happen, especially the way they've been booking her as of late. I mean, they dropped a table on her 2 weeks ago. Last week they have her drop the fall between a non-title match with her and Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So, I mean, it's just not been looking good for her. So I don't expect good things when it comes to night 2 at WrestleMania for her.
Well, she had 2 big wins though. I mean, she beat Shayna Baszler actually on my birthday, March 15th.
Yeah,
and then,
she did, because that was a comeback because of the fact that Shayna Baszler accidentally drop kicked her teeth out. Was out for 3 weeks. She doesn't even have her front teeth right now, as far as concerned. She has to go to dental surgery, I think, and get her regular ones put back in.
seriously?
Right now. Yeah, that happened in a tag match with her, I think earlier this year, where she took the loss with Charlotte Flair in a rematch against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. You see this always this always goes around Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. But yeah, Shayna Baszler hit her with a drop kick in the face and knocked her teeth out and gave her a concussion. Legit.
I had no clue that had gone on. I somehow missed that storyline, man.
And she was out for 3 weeks, and then she got the comeback when she came back, and she pinned Shayna Baszler in a couple minutes, with a fluke win where it was like, okay, Shayna Baszler had her in the her submission hold, but somehow had her shoulders down while doing it. And again, the way they're doing
little
stuff,
storyline action.
Storyline action is. But again, this could be something I could deal with all day. In regards to how they approach things with not only her, but several other wrestlers. I mean, there's a list of people that they've had bad booking on. I mean, we'd be here till next Friday, if we talked about that. But that's an issue. That's a bigger and longer issue there in and of itself.
Yeah.
But again, my friend, we're going to go ahead and finish out night 2 with the championship match that a lot of people are talking about, and that is Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge. And I think this is a match a lot of people want to see. So I want to hear your thoughts. Edge has come back. He's looking great. He's looking in shape. He's ready to go. Daniel Bryan has said, I don't know if he gave away what his, the intentions of the match were, but he has said that he wants to, he said it earlier this year. He said that he wants to go ahead and get off a full-time status, which I think he probably will in the not too distant future, and wrestle part-time. But then again, with the WWE, part-time wrestlers winning championships has been something that they've done before, i.e. Brock Lesnar. But Your thoughts on Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan? I see Roman Reigns coming out on top. I see them still waiting for a chance to go ahead and continue to push him. Now, what are your thoughts on this triple threat match?
Yeah, another great, weird kind of match style here with the triple threat match here. I think Edge is even odds when I was looking at the odds sheet just a few minutes ago. Looking past that, Roman Reigns is second in line there, and then Daniel Bryan, obviously at the end, talking about his expected exit to part-time status. This is going to be something, Gerald, that it's going to be a fun match to watch, and it's going to be. You talk about Roman Reigns continuing to build that brand, right? And pushing him forward. But it's going to be, I don't know, man. This is going to be a fun match to watch. I don't really have a lot to say about it other than I think the Edge is going to take it. When you look at the three of them, I'm further over on the Edge side than I am Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan at this point.
I think if you want to continue Roman Reigns as your top individual, I mean, there was a time where pushing him as your top individual made a lot of fans upset. Now that he's finally heel 2 years too late, I think you got to go ahead and continue to run with it. He would have been great. It would have been great for him to be a heel 2 years ago or 3 years ago when it was really needed, when the fans were really kind of sick of him at that point in time. But
right
now it kind of works with him and Paulie Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman. So I don't really like that dynamic between them each other. And now the Uso brothers, whether or not they're going to interfere, whatnot, we'll see what happens. But I'm thinking Roman Reigns will win it. But again, if you have chance, please hit us up this weekend on your thoughts. Again, we will also be doing post-game interviews with Night 1, John Orlando from the PVD cast, and also as well Knowing and Fine from Honey Queen. Maybe even Marcus might drop by. That's up to him. But we want to hear your thoughts on WrestleMania. Please share it while we're on the air. Go ahead and let us know. Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you get your podcasts. But my friend, our big, huge WrestleMania preview is done. Another week is in the books. It's been a great time talking to you. Thanks for coming back in the chair as always. Any last thoughts on the way out?
Just keep an eye out on the news. I think we've got some great storylines coming from WrestleMania here. And, we've seen some really cool pop culture things pop up over the last few weeks as far as movie announcements, TV announcements. So, I'm just keeping my eyes peeled, man. Last thoughts on the way out. Have a good day. Have a great week. I can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.
Remember on Monday's show with Josh and I, we're going to be recapping Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4. He has some thoughts finally on Godzilla versus King Kong and the Snyder Cut. And of course, we will wrap up WrestleMania as well. So for Marcus de la Garza, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great